I'm hoping the YouTube algorithm works as it should. And if I put game footage in the background, as you're seeing, maybe some nerds, some fucking computer bound nerds are going to see this video, hopefully. And you'll be inspired to practice yoga. And what is yoga? It's a system of meditation facilitated by pranayama, breathing exercises, asana, the physical positions you put your body in, to access the consciousness, a deeper part of yourself, to connect with yourself, and by extension, the cosmos. I know it all sounds kind of all high and highfalutin, or maybe you might not be into that kind of stuff at first. And who knows? Maybe you're a skeptical type and you might have clicked off the video already. If so, too bad for you, buddy. It can be a difficult thing to get into, but there are plenty of resources online to facilitate you in your yogic journey. So, well, where to start? There's a lot of resources online. You'll get a lot of information out there. I mean, if you just spend a few minutes looking around the internet, it may seem like a lot, but Breathe and Flow is a really good channel to start with just practicing Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga being what you see most people practicing today, focused um, on strengthening the body, um, establishing a greater sense of balance and connection to the body. And this is a big thing. The connection to the body is the key to all yogic practice. Um, but they tutorialize everything. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of stuff. If you take it seriously enough, you will end up learning proper rotations of your joints and all of that sort of stuff. Which will, by the way, if you're plagued by physical pains or problems wherever they may be, me for instance, uh, flat-footed and awful knees, or well, not awful knees. My knees are fine. Terrible knee pain. Being young, that's fucking awful. But the practice of yoga, it can and will, not can, it will fix all that for you as long as you take it seriously. Now, my tips for actually practicing begin with the breath. Establishing a good breath with your diaphragm, a full inhale and a full exhale, is key to practicing any meditation, yoga especially. An active form of yoga, hatha yoga. It is entirely needed. Now, what the point of this breath is to be a monitor for yourself. This is the practice instead of going to the gym where they want you to push yourself to the full limit in a painful, ridiculous, resisting exercise. Instead, you resist and strengthen yourself as long as your breath allows. When you get to the point where you can't pay attention to your form, um, and all that sort of stuff, and you lose track of it, and you're breathing somewhat uncontrollably, loudly, that's when you know it's time to sit back, rest, let yourself catch your breath. It's all about an up and down, and as you'll see with many yoga videos, but especially Breathe and Flow, the vinyasa stuff I recommend, I'll put all my recommendations into with links in the description. When you actually get into the practice and paying attention to the body, your imagination is absolutely vital to the practice. And if you're in your head a lot, this is a perfect practice for you. Now, as you'll practice, you'll find yourself connecting with certain parts of your body, specifically for feelings and all that. That's all I would really recommend paying attention to. How you feel and getting your imagination into the muscles, the sinew, your bones, and even your blood. Feel the blood pumping through your veins. Feel the tension of your muscles. all of that stuff. This is key to getting into a connection with your body and fixing any sort of physical pains you might have with bad posture. There are so many different poses that will help with this sort of stuff. One-footed balance poses are great for your feet strength. You can actually walk around without pain, without some fat idiot, like some disgusting person with flat feet, knees all bent in. Disgusting, awful, gross. Get away from me, freak. But yeah, so your imagination will keep your form maintained, and keeping your form maintained is key to, or is integral to making sure that you don't get injured. These things, again, anything painful, as you'll learn, anything painful, back off. Pain and gain, all that shit, that doesn't fly here. You don't want to do that to your body. That's how you injure yourself. Staying, and listen, don't get freaked out. As long as you pay attention, you won't get injured. I don't even know how many times I've been injured. It's so few, it's so little, and it's all my fault, and it's all the practitioner's fault anyway for doing it. Either you're doing something that you don't really know how to do yet, or you're not paying attention. So yeah, so that is key, at least, to the practicing of using your imagination to stay focused. Connect yourself with the body and feel everything. I'm telling you, if you're completely new to it and you spend a lot of your time in your mind or on the fucking computer or on the shit bag wherever else, you will. This sort of self-awareness will change your life. I know it sounds stupid or something like that, or it sounds like every asshole says that kind of thing to you. No, I'm serious here. This is entirely serious, and you will notice not just physical changes, but spiritual changes as well. I'm not gonna rip the bag out or tell everybody what they may or may not feel. At least when I first started practicing, I noticed a greater sense of intuition just with everything around me, people, objects, whatever it might be. And I have been practicing for some time now. Now, mind you, I'm not a guru, and I'm not an expert by any stretch. So don't take my word as sacrosanct. But I think I have a good perspective on this, and I don't follow an orthodox path in yoga, so I have a somewhat of a unique perspective as well, at least from what you may get from a channel like Breathe and Flow. We'll get into that maybe a little bit later. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I want to try to help people that have never meditated before as well. Now, yoga. Now, if you're already athletic, there's no reason for you to not do yoga. I mean, you're already naturally in tune with your body. You have strength. You have all this available to you already. And if you don't want to change your normal workout patterns or whatever it might be, you want to keep lifting, doing all that. I only make fun of lifting just because I like making fun of it. But yeah, keep lifting. This is just a great way for recovery. And if you want to actually have some spiritual development in your life, again, this is one of the best ways, or I would say is the best way. Yoga is a science. This is a practice that has been done for thousands of years, most likely before the ancient Aryans entered into India. They most likely, and from what it seems like, had the principles of yoga down before we actually see the written and literary products of that culture, of the Indian tradition. Being that yoga is originally an oral tradition, all done through guru to student, with no literature whatsoever. What do you do when you meditate? Well, that's a big question. If you've never done it before, this is the perfect place for you. It's very simple, at least when you start off. All I would recommend you do is focus on your breath. And again, with vigor. I have this down in my outline. With vigor. And what I mean by this is, again, just like I meant previously during your practice, you want to try to use your imagination to feel everything that's going on with your breath. The stretching of your diaphragm, the pushing up of your diaphragm, which is how you get a full exhalation. Push up on your lungs. A lot of people don't get full exhalations. It's something you have to pay attention to, but it's all part of the breath control work that you may do. Now, this is all meant to, at least this watching the breath and doing all that, is meant to bring you into what's called, some people call an observer state. I say it's a meditative state. What you want to do, at least starting off in this state, is, so what you want to do is let everything flow freely. Whatever thoughts you might have, do not go off on thought chains on them. Don't use them or anything like that. Just acknowledge that they're there and let them pass on by. Let them float away. That's all you need to do. Same goes. You may get the same experience I did, especially very early on. Even my first meditative experience had a certain closed eye visuals and colors and things like that. If you notice those things or see those things, great. Don't do anything with them. Now, that's not to say they're dangerous or anything, but you just want to notice you're beginning. It's all about that. Again, keep the vigor. If you lose your focus or start going off on thought chains and stuff like that, don't worry. Don't get frustrated. Just come back. Come back to the breath. You'll be totally fine. Now, that's at least starting off. And if you enjoy doing meditation for whatever reasons they may be, great.